Hello everyone and welcome to this FPL Gameweek 26 Wildcard team reveal and press conference stream with me, Holly Shand. It's been an eventful week of FA Cup action and FPL action, and now we've seen, I think I probably started a trend here, but a lot of managers have now got their wildcard active ahead of Gameweek 26 because it allows us to really optimise for the doubles in 27 and 29 and the blank in 28, which, you know, we was expecting just 4 or 5 fixtures in that blank game week 28. We've actually ended up with 7 because of some shocks in the FA Cup, including Grimsby going through to the quarterfinals, which I was very excited to see. So today I've got the tweet deck open. I'm going to be taking you through the press conferences today, of which there are quite a few coming up. We're going to hear from Bournemouth and Wolves at 1 o'clock, and then at 1:30 and 1:45 we're set to hear from Man City, Brighton, Chelsea, Everton, Spurs, Arsenal, Brentford, Fulham, Southampton, and also Nottingham Forest. And I think Unai Emery is set to come for Aston Villa's press conference at 2:15. So hopefully in an hour's time at the end of this stream, we will be ready to lock in our squads. To be fair, I think I'm fairly set. But I am wanting to know which injury information you are sweating on this week. So please do come and say hello in a chat. I can see quite a few of you in already. And let me know what information you're wanting from the press conferences. I think Brighton's press conference, especially for those looking at Stupinen and March on Wildcard, will be a big one that we need to get through. There may be some managers wanting to hear about Emerson Royale from Spurs as well, so that's something to keep an eye on. So let me know what injury news you are looking for, and any questions you've got, wildcard or otherwise, to help you prepare for game week 26. So the big one then, my wildcard draft. I posted a video on when was it? I think it was on Wednesday with my draft for the wild card. I already had Harry Kane in there even before Spurs got a fixture in the blank. But my plan now is pretty much the same as what it was before. The only thing I've made a change on is the goalkeeper slot. And while there's a few positions that I'm maybe not 100% on, I am fairly set on this wild card draft now. So if I put it up on my screen now, I did have Sanchez with Ward as my backup. I've made a change there. I've had a look at this rotation between Kepa and Sanchez that I really like the look of, especially because I plan to free hit in game week 32 where they could both blank. And then I've got double Brentford defence with me and Henry joining Arsenal's Gabriel. It's a little bit of a challenge deciding on which Brentford defensive assets to go for and also which Brighton defensive assets to go for. And it's a bit of a toss-up between Gabriel and Zinchenko. I'm currently on Gabriel because I've had him for a long time. He's certainly due a goal and I don't want to turn back on him now. In terms of goal threat, he excels. Zinchenko obviously more of an assist threat, but slightly less nailed on. I just think Gabriel's still the safer pick, and I'm waiting for a goal. Hopefully it comes soon. Then in midfield, I've got double Arsenal midfield with Odegaard and Saka. I am one of the managers that sold Martinelli ahead of his lovely scoring run, and I haven't got him back in. I just feel like Odegaard's more nailed in the long term, even if Martinelli is more explosive in the short term. We've got Gabriel Jesus, who is due to come back in. I've also got Marcus Rashford in there, who I think is undroppable. Brighton midfielders causing another dilemma. Matoma for me is in at the moment. Then I've got Tony, Kane and Haaland in my attack. And then on the bench, I've got Sanchez, who I've mentioned, March, who's benched this week just because he's flagged, and Trippier and Shaw, and benching them against Manchester City away. It does feel a bit scary benching Trippier, but the fixtures for the rest of my squad is looking really solid all round. So that's where I'm at with my wild card at the moment, and I don't see it changing too much from here now. I'm hoping this is pretty much locked in, barring any sort of catastrophe in the presses. But I do want to hop over to the chat to say hello to you all. There's quite a lot of you in, which is lovely to see. I also need to put the poll live on who to captain this week. I know Haaland is popular. I know that Saka is popular. Kane is probably a popular one as well. And I'll put other in as well. So while you're over here, make sure that you're liking the stream, subscribing to the channel as well, and voting in the poll. It'd be good to see what all of your thoughts are on all of that stuff. Eddie is in, as is Ayama, Chris, Peter, Sammy, Niraj, Jahim, Toby, Josh is in as well. Steve is in. There's lots of familiar names. Light Rays is in as well, as is Glyn, Nithin, Wenyi and Mika as well. So good to see you all. Thanks so much for joining. And I can see some of you are already waiting for injury news, some of which we already have. Niraj has asked about Nketiah. I don't actually know why he's flagged in the first place, but we'll see what Arteta has to say at 1:30. Because he's got a bit of an ongoing issue, but it hasn't kept him out. He's been, benched in the last couple of games, but he's played minutes, obviously got the assist against Everton. So whether that's an old flag or not, I don't know for that one. Eddie has said, should I go wildcard of Raya, Mings, Gabriel, Estupiñán, Rashford, Odegaard, Saka, Mitoma, Haaland, Tony, Watkins? That means no Kane. I feel like Kane has to be in a wildcard squad because I know he doesn't double in 28, but in 26 he's got Wolves away, 27 he's got Forest at home, 28 Southampton away, and even 29 Everton away. You could probably play him in that one. IMR says hello, as does Chris. Peter's asking, is Tarkowski still a keep after a terrible double game week? Not on wildcard, that's for sure. Sammy is on the wildcard this week as well. Josh is waiting for Maddison news. I think Maddison is fit according to Brendan Rodgers. I don't know if he's lost his flag on the website. No, he hasn't yet, but Rodgers has said that he should be fine. So, some big things to consider in there. What was I going to say? Completely gone out of my head. Oh yeah, the tweet deck's open then, guys. So we was expecting to hear at 1 o'clock from Wolves and Bournemouth. I don't think they're teams that we're particularly waiting for news on. The main thing happening on Twitter at the moment is that Ten Hag has released comments from yesterday that Shaw and Sancho should be back for the trip to Anfield. We've also got discussion on Firmino going to be leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. But other than that, it's all quiet on that front. I also wanted to speak to you quickly about Sorare. You've probably seen the adverts on the Premier League website, but the Premier League have just signed with Sorare, and Sorare run free-to-play fantasy games every single week over on their website. It's called the Premier League Amateur Competition, and if you click the link in my description to this video, you can sign up and join the mini league that I'm running on there. But you essentially choose a squad of 8 players, 2 from each position, and you select a team of 5 for each week, including the captain, and you can compete for prizes like match tickets, free cards, because as well as having this free-to-play element on Sorare, there's also, you can also kind of not pay to play, but buy cards, NFTs that you can then use on the other competitions, so you can win cards that will give you some help on those as well. So you can see on the screen now all the cards in my collection. I think one of them was a free one, but you can see there as well all the cards that I've got in my collection. I won a Salisu the other week, got few interesting players in there as well. So if you are interested in checking out Sorare, either on the free-to-play or the pay-to-play competition, the deadline to get your entries in for this game week is at 3 o'clock, and the link's in the description. And if you buy 5 cards on the market and you've signed up with my affiliate link, you will get a free card as well. So it's well worth checking out. So if we have a look then over on the chat, see what questions we've got today. Steve has said it's Wildcard Friday. Got to agree with you there. Yaheem says, don't sell Tony until April, guys. He's okay to play until then. Yeah, there's it's a two-pronged worry of Tony at the moment with suspensions. Obviously, there's those FA charges. He's also got 8 yellow cards this season. 2 more yellow cards before Brighton's 32nd game, which is, a while away yet, will mean that he is suspended for 2 games. So if he gets booked against Fulham and Everton, for example, he'd miss Southampton and Leicester. So that's a big thing to consider as well. Hopefully he can get through the next 6 games with only picking up the 1 booking. But it's something to bear in mind. But I think it's still fine to bring in Tony on a wild card. But just be aware that you'll probably want to move him on to a Watkins at some point as well. Steve has said, what time is the Brighton presser? It's at 1:30. Shirang says, you didn't get 3 Brighton assets. I do. I've got Sanchez in goal, March and Matoma. It's not always obvious when you've got a goalkeeper in terms of their involvement in your team, being able to spot that on here. But yeah, definitely got the 3 Brighton in there. 3 Brighton and 3 Brentford in my team at the moment. I can see there's 100 of you in, only 27 of you have liked the stream, so get involved, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. All of that really helps me to grow the channel. It's very much appreciated. Joe says Nketiah flagged because he was limping off against Everton. Okay, so that knock's still coming about then. We'll see what Arteta's got to say, but I think he was due at 1:30. As I've said, it's only... these press conferences rarely run to time, by the way, but yeah, it's only Wolves and Bournemouth we're expecting to be hearing from at the moment. Nithan says, thanks for the stream. That's okay, no worries. Yaheem says, a back 3 of Tarkowski, White and Robertson. I'm guessing you're not on a wild card, Yaheem. I think that probably needs a little bit of work. You might be okay for this week. I think Robertson needs to go. I think anyone that went a bit crazy on Liverpool assets last week, wild card or not, should be looking to move on some of those assets now. Wenyi says March, Matoma and McAllister, choose one. This has been causing so many headaches, the Brighton midfielders. I'm going to look at the tools on Fantasy Football Hub to help us here. In terms of predicting who's going to score the most points over the next 4 game weeks, Matoma is expected to come first, then March, and then McAllister. This is all using the points prediction tool for Fantasy Football Hub members. And if you are a member and you want to be able to fully customise, you can click the link in the description to this video, which will get you 30% off your membership. But if we compare Matoma and March, I mean, in a way, you kind of want all of them, don't you? They're playing on opposite flanks. Matoma is more of the goal scorer. You look at... let me just filter this since the restart to just get the more relevant information, because March has had a new role since the restart. March has actually outscored Matoma since the restart, but Matoma's ahead on XG, big chances. But in terms of XA, March excels. So there's not that much to choose from between Matoma and March in terms of goal threat, but March is superior for the assist threat as well. Now, if we compare March and McAllister over the same period, then, you know, it looks as if March is the better asset. If you look at points, goal threat, I think if we do this and we'll leave it per start, but if you look at over the last, just want to go one more there really. the last 2 game weeks, we've seen a new role for McAllister, playing much more in the 10 role rather than further back as a DM. And in that period, in terms of his expected goal involvement, he has looked a lot more threatening. We know he's on set pieces. We also know that he's on penalties. So that's why managers are potentially looking to McAllister. The reason I've personally not gone for it is, yes, I'd have McAllister in my team every single week if I knew he was going to play at 10. But some weeks, he is probably tactically going to have to move further back, and that limits his appeal, whereas I don't feel like you get that with March and Matoma. I think if you're only choosing one, providing we get good news from De Zerbi on March's fitness, would just go March out of those 3. Oh, thanks for the kind words, everyone. Winji said, shall I sell Martinelli or Andreas to buy a Brighton midfielder? I think I'd probably lose Andreas of the 2 right now to get a Brighton mid in. Harmony is on a wild card this week. Raya in goal. Raya Pope rotation there. Gakpo is still in the squad. That is an interesting pick. John is in from Perth. Hi John, thanks for joining. Hasnain is saying, should I get rid of Akanji? Yeah, I think I would now. You've got to bear in mind, how many times are you going to want to play him in the next 4 game weeks? And is he even going to start? Newcastle at home, not great. Crystal Palace away is okay. Then he blanks. Then it's Liverpool at home in that double game week in 29. So I think it's an easy sell on Akanji for now. Possibility says, I don't know who to captain between Odegaard, Martinelli and Kane. That's a tough one. If we look at the predictions as well, I always find this helps for captaincy. Kane is on top with 7.1, followed by Odegaard on 7. Martinelli is at 5.8, but that's with a predicted 76 minutes for Martinelli. So that would be higher if he was to get 90. Whether you think he gets 90 or not, I don't know. But they're kind of the names in the frame. I just prefer Saka, but there's not a lot between them, Kane, Odegaard and Saka. It is a bit of a coin toss, personal preference type thing. In our poll, Saka is on 57%, Haaland 31%, Kane 5%, other 8%, as things stand. Peter said, I brought in Sanchez and Emerson Royale for Alisson and Perisic. Isn't Emerson Royale currently flagged? I mean, we will hear from Stellini at 1:30 to tell us for sure what's going on. But yeah, he's currently flagged with a knock. Fixtures are great for Spurs though. Yaheem says De Gea or Ward. I think the only thing you need to consider on those goalkeeper dilemmas is the funds that you need. So Ward is 4 million. De Gea is 5 million. What could you do with that other million? Would it allow you to get a decent midfielder in like Bruno Fernandes down the line? So in double game week 29, Fabianski is supposedly the top goalkeeper, although he's currently out. Then it's Nick Pope, then Robert Sanchez, then De Gea. So hopefully that's helpful in that dilemma for you. Chris is sat at the table with a pen and paper. I've been there. I've got all sorts written down. I won't show you my piece of paper. It looks like a mess, but I've been there. Noah says Pope and Henry or Kepa and me. I think I'd go Kepa and me. I think the reason why double Newcastle defence is popular is, and if we go to the graphic that Ben Crellin posted on Twitter last night, the reason why, and this is the same reason why Sanchez is popular from Brighton, is that we know that Brighton have got 2 more double game weeks over most sides. Newcastle are in a similar boat. So, you know, if you get like Sanchez, obviously bench him in the blank in 28, then he doubles in 29. You know there's going to be at least one more double. And this is why Ben has said that he thinks that Newcastle 3 v Brighton, which is the double that still needs to be rescheduled, could slot into 31. And if that's the case, then, you know, you kind of want to be holding your Brighton and Newcastle assets through this period. And that's why we've got that popularity in those picks and that utility going forward. Thank you, Prakash, for the super chat. Very much appreciate it. Both mini league rivals have Odegaard, and they're saying keep Odegaard and block off any point gain or get Martinelli and hope he outscores him on Wildcard, and we'll sell the Arsenal mid in 29. Yeah, I can see the appeal of this. I think the reason I'm reluctant to do it is because I've recently got rid of Martinelli. But it's just been phenomenal over the last few games. Looks like he's got his mojo back. A goal from the bench against Villa, then started against Leicester and scored, started against Everton and scored 2. Played 90 minutes in both of those games as well, which was encouraging. I think it was Trossard that we saw get rotated with Nketiah coming off the bench. It will be interesting to see what Arteta says on both Nketiah's availability and Gabriel Jesus. But if you are chasing in a mini league, I don't think it's a bad idea, especially when you know that you're probably only going to be holding him for the next 3 game weeks. So if we look at 26, 27 and 28, and we're looking at Arsenal midfielders, Odegaard is top, Saka second and Martinelli third. But Martinelli for sure is the most explosive of those picks. And these ratings are on him getting 76 minutes in the game versus 88 for Odegaard. So I think it's fine to take that punt over a shorter period of time. The probabilities of Martinelli outscoring Odegaard are higher over that smaller period. And if it comes off, it will help you to make up ground. But thanks very much, Prakash, for the super chat as well. Toby has said, need to know a Stupin and a March news. Yeah, still, we're at 22 minutes past, so we've still got a little bit of time until those press conferences filter through. But at that point, I will move over to this tweet deck to make sure that, you know, none of us miss anything. Peter says the inform Watkins or the double game week Tony, so hard to choose. To be honest, I think it's easy. For me, it's Tony over Watkins. Yeah, Watkins is a form player, but have we missed his points now? That's the thing that we find interesting. If we just compare them over, let's have a look over the last 4 game weeks. So we've got Tony and Watkins. When did Watkins start getting good again? I think it's been since the restart, hasn't it? Goal and an assist, couple of blanks, and then scored in the last 5. So let's filter this since the restart. So that was game week 17. So remember, all of these tools are available for Hub members, and you can get 30% off with a link in the description. So Tony's heat map obviously looks way more attractive than Watkins. And then if you just look at the numbers, Watkins has 6 goals to Tony's 4. But you've got to be looking at, you know, big chances is similar, shots is similar as well. I think in terms of the stats, it is all very similar, but then you've got to bear in mind, Tony has 8 fixtures in the next 6 game weeks. Watkins only has 7. And yes, we've got to worry about a ban for Tony, but if that ban was to come about, then you've got the opportunity to make the switch from one to the other, which is going to be something to bear in mind. I think it would be fine by the time we get to 29 to buy Watkins anyway. If we just look at the points predictions in the game weeks prior to that, you know, this week, Tony's predicted 5.9 compared to Watkins' 4.8. And then in game week 27, obviously, Tony's got the double game week, so much higher. 28, they're level at 6.1. And Tony's still higher than Watkins in game week 29, 9.1 v the 8.3. Yeah, so that's where we're at with those. So that's something that you've got to think about. I think it's an easy decision at the moment, but just be open to getting on board Watkins. I think, you know, we can't really expect Watkins to deliver in every single game, and we've had a recent blank, so maybe things sort of regress a little bit and then improve again. He's due a blank is what I'm trying to say. Good question though, Peter. Thank you. Keep those questions coming, guys. I'll do my best to answer all of them in the next 35-40 minutes, as well as keeping up with the press conferences. Paul says, what do you think about the Sanchez-Rayo combo? Looks a tasty rotation. Yeah, saw this one as well. What did I do with it? I think I bookmarked it, actually, because someone on Twitter had put a good... a good thing up on this. Can't remember who it was now or where it was. Can't find it. Never mind. Anyway, yeah, it does look like an okay rotation. The only thing that puts me off is that in double game week 27, I would like to own 6 double game week players, especially given that I've wildcarded in 26. So that's literally the only thing that puts me off doing a Sanchez and Ray rotation. Whether that be foolish or not, I don't know, but I feel like I need 6 for that one. Right, keep liking and subscribing, guys. Let's try and get a few. Every time that you like and subscribe to the stream, it does, you know, get it out to more people. It'd be great to be up to 200 people in by the time these press conference news are coming in, and that'll be great because it also means that we'll be able to do more of these streams as well. So all of your support, anything that you can do, it's really easy just to like, subscribe to the channel as well. It really helps me to keep producing all of this content for you guys as well. A Stupid and an Arch will play or not. We're still waiting for De Zerbi's press conference, which is coming very, very soon. We're minutes away from most of these presses now. We're at 27 past, so I think I will move over to the tweet deck so we can keep an eye on things for you guys. Taku says what to do with Mahrez. I think you need to sell him. Mahrez is a great option over the winter in FPL, but as soon as Champions League comes back, and I think City are favourites to progress to the, is it the round of 16? Or is it the quarterfinals? I can't remember where we're at, but they're 1-1 with an away goal in their first leg. They are favourites to progress, and I think it's just going to keep happening. Uchia says, if I only have Matoma, Tony, me for 27, is that a bigger disadvantage v6? I think if you've got it half covered, that's okay. I'm guessing you've already used the wild card. And Nelson says, Haaland is not in my latest wildcard draft. Is that a crazy idea? Personally, I think so. I mean, I did post a bit of a, where was it? A captain planner the other day. Lost it now. Can't have gone far. It was only yesterday. It's probably unlikely we're going to captain Haaland over the next 4. I mean, I'm personally not going to captain him in 26. Double game week 27, you're probably going to want to go with Tony or a Brighton midfielder. 28, Kane, Saka, another Arsenal player. 29 is going to be a double game week option, whether that be Rashford or Tony again, Brighton player again. So that's why managers are looking to move off Haaland, and that's fine. I think it does help you to get Watkins in as well. But please bear in mind, if you've owned Haaland since game week 1, you bought him at 11.5, he's currently at 12.2. If you sell him, you're going to get 11.8 for him. It's probably going to cost you 12.2 to bring him back in. So that's quite a bit of team value. I know at the moment we've got money in our banks from our wild cards, but that might not be the case in a few game weeks' time. So, you know, you just need to know the consequences. The fact that 26 and 29 are tough fixtures but are at home is something to consider as well, because 2/3 of his goals have come at home this season as well. So I've not considered it for a second. I have heard others saying that they have. So Pepper said that Stones, Laporte and Ortega feel better, much better. Whatever that means. That's the first of the press conference news. Pep is on time, which is something. I'm going to keep the tweet deck up now, but I will carry on with your questions as well. Nascabar says they've got 6 players who aren't playing in 28. Help. Yeah, shouldn't be too big a deal in terms of trying to navigate this one now. Obviously, you're going to want to hold your Brighton players through. This could be another motivation for potentially selling Haaland as well. You know, there's not that many players that blank in 28 that you are going to want to hold, though. Fulham players can be sold. Liverpool players can be sold. City players beyond Haaland can be sold. Rashford you'll probably want to hold. That's about it. So start moving them out for assets from Brentford and Brighton would be my advice. What's this about? That suspended from the touchline for 1 match. So that'll be this. Should imagine that will be 26. Don't know whether that's significant or not for Brighton assets. Stephen Ty says, if Estupiñán is fit, will you go for him? I mean, it is tempting. I could go Raya and Estupiñán rather than Rico, Henry and Sanchez. I need to check out the Raya and Kepa goalkeeper rotation as well. But the reason I like Sanchez is that I want 3 Brighton players for 27 and 29. But I also don't want 3 Brighton players for the blank in game week 28. But it's okay if one of them's a goalkeeper. It just gives a bit more utility. Confirmation that Thiago Silva is out for 6 weeks, which is going to dent the appeal of Chelsea players. Certainly defenders. Now says Pope and Henry or Kepa and me. Kepa and me. I'm sure I've answered that already. Gerald says going to roll my transfer this week, but is Tony worth getting? I don't think it's... I think if you're not on a wild card, Tony is like a monitor for this week. Because if he picks up a yellow card, then the probabilities of him missing 2 of his fixtures across 27 or 29 or the blank 28 is higher. Mason Mount is out for tomorrow. So that's quite a big one. Roberto speaking to the press shortly. Surely no one still owns Mount in FPL. I think his ownership's still up there though. Let me just have a little look. I'm going to do it on a different tab so that we don't lose the tweet deck, because obviously that's the most important thing at the moment. I think Mount's one, I mean, it's probably a lot of dead teams, but he's one of those players, 4.3% of teams, that, you know, is still quite well owned in FPL, surprisingly. Another question on Brighton players. Matoma or McAllister, which one's the better option? It's a coin toss. I've gone Matoma, there's not a lot in it. McAllister, if he plays number 10, is probably the better player, but how much does he play number 10 is the question. Right, while we're waiting for these comments from Deserby, give the stream a like, guys. Let's get it to 100 likes. Help me out. Nascabar says, no people have Rashford and Haaland, at least 2 out of City, Liverpool, Man United and Brighton. So what to do for 28? I think you hold like your Rashfords, but you don't you know, you maybe get rid of your Liverpool players. Shay Adams is back for Southampton against Leicester. He's been a big loss for them. So maybe we see a bit of a resurgence. Surely the only way is up for them after losing to Grimsby. Srinivas says double Newcastle defence necessary, conceding with the goals they've been conceding. Their defence is still looking pretty good. All right, here we've got news from Arteta on Jesus. He's not far. I don't want to give a time frame, but he's doing certain things with the team. He's not very close, but not far at all. So I think that's the thing that could kill both Nketiah and Martinelli. So I'm guessing very close is the next week, but by 28, Jesus could be in. Yeah, Newcastle's defensive numbers are still okay, Srinivas, and we know that they've got another double game week coming up as well as the scheduled one. So that's the appeal there. Sidan says Raya or Sanchez. Personal choice a bit here, but I do think that certainly in terms of having Sanchez on your bench in game week 28, it's much easier to hold a Brighton spot on your bench. We've got 4 slots on our bench. You could potentially have 3 Brighton players plus a Haaland or a Rashford. I mean, I may even sell Rashford in Haaland in 28 for Watkins. Depends what happens with Tony though. I think it's still fine to field 10 that week. If you use the My Team tool on the hub, you can actually set up your teams for future game weeks. So this is my wildcard team. By 28, I'm going to have 2 free transfers, but I'm going to be benching Rashford, March Matoma. Haaland is that sacred spot. Can you go without him in 28 to 29, bringing back 30? Let's hop over back to the tweet deck now. We don't want to miss anything at the moment. I think we're okay for now. Nothing new coming through. FPL Focus, thank you for joining, mate. Do you think Maddison will start just after coming back? I mean, he's such an important player for them. It was only like a little knock. He's kind of been back and then missed a game. So, yeah, I think he probably will. John says, Andreas or Iwobi out for Mitoma. I think if you're needing numbers for the blank, then Andreas, because Iwobi's got a fixture. Amar says, Tony for a -8 hit. No, don't do it. If you're not on a wild card, I'd just bring Tony in 27. Having kind of, wanting him not to get booked this weekend, and then you can buy him for double game week 27, knowing he's going to not be suspended for one of those games. Jojo says Maddison's minutes will surely be managed. Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? But if you look at the table, they can't really afford. Maddison's so integral. Can they afford to not play him? They're only 3 points from safety. We'll see. Yeah, Nascabar says Raya Sanchez blanks in 28. Yeah, but I've got Kepa to play in 28, so it's not an issue for my team. Amar says he's watching from -13 degree Ottawa. Hope you've got the heating on. Teo has got a plan. -4 in 26 and 27, 11 in 28. Potential -8 for game week 29 and keep the wild card. Or wild card now. Yeah, I'd just wild card now. I really would. Ben Krellin's saying wild card now. If it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. Steve is asking on the best goalkeeper rotation. This is $1 million question. It depends how you navigate in 28 in terms of benching players and selling players. It's how much funds you need in your squad elsewhere as well. But some combination of Raya, Kepa, Sanchez. It's going to be them guys. That's where it's at. Ali Ahmed says, can I play Mahrez in game week 26? You can. I mean, there's no guarantees that he starts. He's probably due a start. But it's just a bit of a frustrating run. Right, this press conference from Brighton is the slowest thing ever. Gazman, better late than never. Stupid word. I wondered where you were. Back from the start for me. Have a great stream. Oh, thanks for joining. Iman says, should I pick Jensen, Maddison or Odegaard? I think Odegaard. Certainly for the next couple. I started to think my tweet deck's broke. Has it just not been updating? No. It's just slow. We want news. Well says keep Pope. Yeah, it's expensive though. I guess no more expensive than Sharp. I think double Newcastle defence is still decent in terms of the fact that they're going to have another double dropping in the near future. Wengie, Tony or Watkins. I'm on Tony. Can always switch to Watkins. Ali Ahmed has asked about Mahrez again. Jojo has said Estupiñán is an exciting pick. However, I'm sure De Zerbi will manage his minutes. Tariq Lamptey improving, Dunk less fun but guaranteed 90. Yeah, this is part of my motivation again to go Sanchez in goal, because I don't know how much I trust Estupiñán's minutes now that he's had a bit of a knock. Could we see that rotation coming in? Lamptey as well. It's tricky. Iman says, what do you think about Jensen? I don't think a lot about him, if I'm honest. I think double defence is the way to go. Ioma said, what is the link to the website to get the stats? All the stats are on the Fantasy Football Hub website. The link should be in the description, but you have to be a member to get all of the things you can see. But you can get 30% off memberships with my affiliate link. I'll drop it in as well. That's on the annual memberships. Right. March and Estupiñán can play tomorrow. And Welbeck is fit in very good condition. That is good. Let's give that a retweet. Oh, error. Try again. Oh well, we'll leave it. That's the news that we wanted though. So, March owners, Estupiñán owners, those wanting to pick them up on Wildcard, they are available. I'm sure everyone will be pleased to hear that one. That is good news. That was probably the hardest thing. But yeah, I'm sure I saw a link to something the other day as well saying about Estupiñán could be rotated. I don't know if it was one of them that the press have kind of made it into a bigger deal than it needs to be, but, you know, you just don't want that worry, especially because, you know, Brighton aren't particularly used to playing a lot of games in quick succession. Garav said Mudryk in, Gakpo out. I like the Gakpo out, but I don't particularly like the Mudryk in. Jojo subscribe, thank you. We're doing all right on subs. It'd be nice to get to 16.8k today. I'm not far off, actually. Where is it? Let's get the right tab. I'll put that on here. If you guys can help me out to get to 16.8k, that'd be brilliant. So I'm 12 off. We could probably get that done now. There's 235 of you watching. I saw some crazy stat the other day as well, like only 30% of people that watch my content actually subscribe to the channel. So it'd make a massive difference if the rest of the 70% that do support my content also subscribe to the channel as well. So help me out, guys. I'll be on Sky Sports News tomorrow as well at 10:30, back in the studio for that one. So that'll be a fun one. If you fancy joining me for my last advice ahead of the game week deadline. It does stop me from doing deadline streams consistently, but I do enjoy having this little slot as well to take you through the press conferences. There's a bit of a delay on the stream, that's why you might be subscribing and nothing's happening on what you can see on screen. I think there's about 30-second delay, so that's why it hasn't happened. Chris B says, are you a fellow leg bouncer? Yeah, I've got a little like mat underneath me. Not like a footrest. I've been kicking it about a bit today. All the frustration, wildcard frustration. We should hear from about Emerson Royale soon, so that's a big one. Got to keep our eye out for these things. Josh says, it's quite annoyed with how the cup results went. Surely not Grimsby though, can't be annoyed with that. Set up well, but yeah, I'm a bit the same, that I've been keeping an eye on this blank game week 28, and then the wild card has been the strategy. But at least I didn't take a massive hit last week. I know there was a few managers that took a big hit to get Liverpool players in, hoping they'd have a fixture in 28 that they could then follow them through for, and then it didn't work out quite that way. So, you know, it swings and roundabouts. You can't have it all in FPL, can you? Jojo says, risky, but I'm thinking of Haaland to Watkins in 28. Yeah, it could work. Caleb says, Nketiah for Mbomo for the double game week. Not enough funds for Tony. Don't think I'm convinced on that one, if I'm honest. Rohit says, I'm planning on going for Raya and Sanchez as my two keepers. That's fine. The only reason I've not done it myself is because I quite like the idea of having 6 doublers for 26. De Zerbi says Grimsby at home in the FA Cup quarterfinals will be a test of Brighton's mentality. Everyone's fearing the mighty Mariners now. Shadrach says, hold sure, yeah. Ten Hag said he's going to be available. It's just the fixtures, isn't it? He's getting assists though. Liverpool away, Southampton at home, then the blank, then the double. I mean, if you've got a bit of value tied up in him, depends how much you really want to optimise the other blanks and doubles, really, doesn't it? I can see an argument for it though. Achiha, pronounced that really badly, didn't I? Haven't used Wildcard, but I have triple Arsenal midfielders, Kane, Trippier, Robertson, 1 Brighton. Yeah, I think that's the only thing for those without not using the Wildcard, is that you can't go too big on Brighton for this period. Twaman says, great content as ever, Holly. Hopefully get a big green arrow. I hope so. I need to start climbing. It's been a steady couple of weeks. Light Ray says, if you sell Haaland for another player, then you'll get 3 fixtures v Haaland's 1 against Liverpool. That's very true, isn't it? I think maybe I'll look at it when we get to 28. It's just if something else comes up or you end up using the funds elsewhere and then you can't get them back and then you're a bit screwed. So Brighton's assistant Andrea Maldera will be in charge on the touchline tomorrow because of De Zerbi's 1-game ban. Onyeka and Janssen are both fit for selection for Brighton. So this is quite big because this is where I've seen a few managers go with Pinnock, and I think, you know, if Janssen's fit, we could see some change in Brentford's back line. They've been very good defensively anyway. Lee says, I think Reece James is a must instead of Kepa. Chelsea will be out the Champions League this round, so only league games, no rotation risk. I just don't trust Reece James. I've never been a big fan of him in FPL. You're either going to get a 20 from him or a 0 or a 1. I think with the blanks and the doubles that we're trying to get through, I just don't like the risk of James that could get injured at any point. Like the amount of times he's been ruled out through injury the last couple of seasons has just been crazy. Your Chino has asked for Brentford news. It's just coming in now. John might gamble on Tony captain this game week. Interesting. Josh has said Reece James is a doubt. Have I missed that one? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. That's probably just an assumption, to be fair. Not missed that one, have I? Ranil says, how come Gabriel over Zinchenko? I think it's just loyalty to Gabriel. He is due a goal. I've been waiting for it for a while, having held Gabriel, and if it wasn't for that loyalty, I probably would have just gone Zinchenko, but, you know, Gabriel is due a goal soon. Francis says, kids with the football kit were adorable. Yeah. I got the eldest one got a bit of birthday money. She needed a new football kit. And then the youngest one has just got the hand-me-downs, bless her. But yeah, they were buzzing with them the other day. Living their best lives. Steve says, I'm planning on bench boosting 29. Would the rotation of Kepa and Sanchez be better than Kepa and Raya looking to free hit in 32? I mean, I personally think so. That's the strategy that I'm on. But, you know, there's not a lot in it, and there will be scenarios where it doesn't work out that way. Rohit says, time to get rid of Haaland until 30. Watkins, Tony and Kane as a front three. High risk, high reward. Yeah, I mean, I probably will... I probably will do it in 28. But not owning Haaland for Palace away, like, that's not nice. That would be scary. Could work 28, 29, granted, when you're looking at 3 fixtures v1. But not in the next 2. I don't think you're gaining anything. Because essentially you're going to be losing him for a Watkins. Light Race is liking the Brighton news. Yeah, he's a good one. Seems a bit steady, these pressers. We've not heard from Arteta yet, have we? We've got Estupiñán and March news. They're fine. Not heard about Emerson Royale. Not heard about Nketiah. Interestingly as well, in Eddie Howe's press conference this morning, he mentioned that Shaw's got a bit of a knock. But I think if you've got him on your wildcard, you're probably benching him this week anyway, so it's not that big a deal. It literally was just a knock. Some sort of like... Was it a facial injury? Alif says, are you wildcarding? Yeah, I'll put... We'll keep an eye on the tweet deck, yeah, but I'll put my wildcard team back on so that you guys can see it. There it is in all its glory. Keep the questions coming, guys. I'll stay on for another 10 minutes or so. So if you've got any pressing questions, get them in now. Now is your chance. So Gerald says, I've got 3 transfers to take out 3 players for a full 11 for blank 28. But that means not transferring in Tony and Brighton fellas before that. Yeah, I don't. It's a lot of effort to save the wild card. I don't know what you're going to gain by saving the wild card. Nelson says, Arteta press conference, Nketiah is to be assessed. Oh yeah, did I miss that? Hang on, I thought we'd heard. I'm getting confused now. I've not seen it flash up, but maybe I was just being a bit slow. Maybe he was prompt. Yeah, so Nketiah is a doubt then. To be fair, the writing was on the wall anyway. He was gone. Jarrell, my 3 strikers are Iheanacho, Kane and Haaland. Interesting. Reynolds says, how come Gabriel over Zinchenko? I think I've probably explained that one now. Ahmed said, is Maddison okay? Yeah, that's right. Winyi has Dunk over Estupinan, White over Zinchenko, Martinelli over Saka. Would you wildcard just to upgrade those players? Not particularly, but say you've not got any Brentford or Brighton either, then I think it gets a bit more compelling. VL says, who do I start? Gakpo, Darwin or Kulusevski? Also in defence, Dawson or Trippier. Darwin and Trippier? I really don't like Darwin Núñez as an FPL asset. I really don't. Guys, this counter has been moving up. We're now at 16, 7, 9, 8, 9, 9. We're nearly at 16.8k. Help me out. It's moving up. Where's my team gone? Too many tabs open. Grant said, is Foden an option? I think Foden and Mahrez are still going to share minutes and stuff like that. Right, well, I think we've probably got all the news we wanted then, haven't we? Here we go on Reece James. Not definitively ruled out, but doubt due to a tight hamstring. That just goes to prove everything I've said, doesn't it? Always the case. Right, I am going to wrap things up there then, guys. Thank you so much for supporting today. I will post the final wildcard team at some point as well, but I do really appreciate all of your support as well, especially all the new subscribers. If you haven't done so already, hit that button. I'll be back very soon with another stream. Same time next week, Friday, 1 o'clock UK time. Good luck, especially those on Wildcard.